A very good afternoon to you traders. It's Mark here from the Day Trading Room. Time's approaching 5 p.m. In the afternoon on a Saturday afternoon, 26th of November, 5 p.m. London time. And just reviewing really the market action from last week. Haven't been trading last week. I did have a little look on Friday for the half day and made a few trades. I just want to talk about those now, which is the purpose of the video. But not been trading last week. Obviously, Thanksgiving on Thursday. Happy Thanksgiving to all the American traders out there. Back at it next week. Really looking forward to getting stuck into it. Market seems to be spicing up, and just a lot more action. A lot more action coming through. So yeah, should be. Hopefully, I'm hoping for a good bit of volatility up towards Christmas. But anyway, I wanted to talk through these couple of trades. There's two trades on Friday, and really the plan was I just wanted to look and see if there was an opportunity for a continuation trade. Um, those are my preferred trades. Those are the easier trades to spot. You don't need to be in tune with prior days so much for those trades to work, if you see what I mean. If you're taking counter trend trades, you have to have a little bit of a feel for how the prior days have traded, the levels that have traded, and being a bit more tuned with the market. Continuation trades are pretty much clear as can be on the tape, and they either work or they don't. Risk is very quantified. You haven't got to mess around, feathering in orders or anything like that around that point. You just in, you look at the pullback, your entry's there, and you're away. So yeah, small size on these. Obviously, I've not been trading for a while. You've got to come back. Your first trades have got to be small. You can't be diving straight in as much as everyone wants to come back. Dive in, load up that ticket with the full size. You can't. You've just got to take it steady. So really, all I observed on Friday was just a huge, strong opening drive. I mean, it just rocketed. If you just look at this here, uh, it was the opening print around here on the YM. We pushed up a little tiny pause here, then we just built, and this was an absolute rocket. We just absolutely blasted up there. Huge old volume, nice big volume on the candle, and disappointingly made the mistake of not taking that first pullback. Probably, no real excuse for it other than wasn't in tune. It was came out very quickly. Hadn't been trading, and then all of a sudden this comes out, so I just didn't take it. But in hindsight, that's a great trade. The ticks are so strong, the probability of that working, if you can get a read on that on the tape, are very high. However, I always think you get a second go at it, and the second go for me is always that ticks to pull back to zero if possible. And it just worked. It just worked perfectly this time. So I was waiting for that. I'd missed that. Um, I hope some guys got on that because that's a really nice sort of setup you can get on it. Ticks holding, good explosive move, loads of trap shorts on there, just everyone trapped on it. And if you'd been watching it from the open as well, which you should have been if you're going to be trading there, you'd have seen the strength, the strength, the strength. Very, very little opportunity for any buyers to get in, whether they're covering shorts or getting on the long side. So that was the first real pullback, and so you got to be watching your tape at that point. To see if the market's going to continue. The likelihood is, the odds are the setup is, the odds are that the market will continue. You just got to confirm that with the tape and make sure that risk is quantified. Second setup, is the first trade for me, was the tick to pull back to zero. Once we've got all that strength, and I'm seeing loads of great strength, I just love ticks to pull back to ticks pulling back to zero, and if I can get a little bit of confluence with that as well, then even better. I remember saying to myself at the time, hey, if we get around to the VWAP, the 11,300 on the Dow Cash ticks to zero. Great, I'm all aboard it. And I'll just bring in the Dow Cash chart here, and so we can put this into perspective. It's a 5 minute, but I'll just change that quickly to a 1 minute, and we'll see exactly what was going on there. This is a Dow Cash chart. I'm just on my laptop here, so I'm just taking a bit of time to get all these things sorted out. There's 11,300. As you know, guys, reading the blogs, watching the videos, I love the whole numbers on the Dow Cash. I use them a lot for my YM trading. I really think they work well, and all they do for me, so I use them an awful lot. So really, that's the confluence I need. I'm pushing up, pulling back. Ignore that stochastic, by the way. That's completely irrelevant. Market's pushing up nicely, as I said. Good strength, good strong tape. There's the first pullback, second pullback. Here we go, back to 11,300. There's my nice little whole number there, or 100 number, and ticks to zero as well. There's the ticks round here to zero. Perfect. Can't ask for any more. And just waiting, and it was actually just nice. It was a nice setup. It's one of those ones that just fits nicely because it worked immediately. I pretty much got to the low, couple of ticks on that. It was great. It just flushed down a little tiny bit, just a few seconds, flushed down, bang, hit that 11,300 level. Ticks just under zero. I've got to have a go. I've got to have a go. It's my sort of thing, and it worked great. Got the first scales out pretty much straight away. Was at tens and 15s if I remember rightly. So it's really good little trade that. And then I sat with the trade. I sat with it, and I actually started to think, okay, well, actually, another trader mentioned it. He said, this could turn into a bit of a grind up trend day. There's not a lot of volume. The volume could tail off pretty dramatically here. So, it makes sense to think that perhaps we could have a trend day. So that's sort of what I played for. I held a couple, scaled off in as we broke this high here, one, and then just held one, just the one. All right, just because. I wanted to look for that. That was the hypothesis. It was okay. Well, we could actually generate into a trend. There's a nice strong open. Ticks are strong. They haven't gone below zero very much at all. The lowest we had was about 124 from 200. So it's all bearing good. I know that we're at the 60-minute doesn't look very great for that, but you know what? It doesn't matter. It's a nothing relative to the position, and I can just leave it and let it run. One thing for me is always where to come out. If it's a trend day, great. I'll close it. At one point, it was 50 points on the table, and I was. It's a difficult thing that thinking 50 points, 50 ticks. Yeah, that's great. But the idea was to run it for the trend day, so I decided to hold it. That was the theory, and I used a stop under. I used a stop on a low tick of the day. Hindsight, no, I think it was okay. Yeah, I ended up getting stopped out here on this candle here. So okay, gave back quite a bit, but that's part of the deal, isn't it? If you're looking for a longer move, you've got to be prepared to sit through some pullbacks. And yeah, it was a low of that move there. Really, it should have been probably tape reading it a little bit and managing that, but I just sort of put that as a plan. Low tick, I'm just going to hit it out. I wasn't really concentrating on the market from then on. I'd done the trade that I was after, which was that trade there. I'd taken the meat out of it, and I was just left with a runner. That was the meat from that pullback there. I was just left with the runner. So yeah, took that one out there. That was the final thing. So carry on watching. Of course, the market's rolling over now. Still a little bit low volume. Not that keen on getting involved in it. Probably missed out on a couple of little pullbacks here. That little pullback there, ticks to zero there. Having had low cluster of ticks. But anyway, got on the end of this. Now, why did I sell this towards the end of the day? Because I'm just looking for patterns. If you've seen the videos before, you'll see sometimes, very often actually, I will look for patterns that are occurring over the week or 2 week period. We've had all sorts. We've had the opening drive push. We did some analysis on that, so we could see the sort of movement we expected on that. We did some analysis on the time of day. We're getting reversals, and that used to happen all the time at a certain time. So I call it my window of opportunity, and I'd have that on my chart, and that worked great. And so I'm always scanning for these little extra edges. They combine those with your setups, with your tape reading, and it's a powerful combination. So anyway, Friday, Thursday obviously wasn't there, but saw great big sell-off. Great big sell-off on Thursday. A lot of selling coming in. About 4 minutes before the close. So what am I going to do? 10 minutes before the close, I'm going to be looking, especially when we've seen this sort of move. Bulls enjoyed the run. They enjoyed that run, and for all the world, it looked like it was. I was positioned for a trend up move. Okay, only small size relatively. I'm not. That's not my thing. That's not my edge. Is looking for that. But if a trade's working for me and I've got a one on a runner, yeah, why not? and it looked for all the world that the strength was there. But then, we just started to roll over, put in some more low tick readings, and then we started getting a cluster of low tick readings. As far as I'm concerned, it's game off for the bulls. Unless they recover that pretty quickly. We're under the VWAP here now. Try to be defended. Anywhere around here, you can sort of let them get away with it a bit, especially if you've got a bit of support here. But when you're starting to trade around here, and it's been accepted, which is really in the lower part of that opening drive, don't forget. And the ticks are low, it's game over for the bulls. They've got to be sweating it out, even if maybe they're not in terms of movement price. Even if they were buying in this level up here, even if they've got a larger stop, they may not be completely panicking, but they've got to be uncomfortable based on the price action. They've got to be uncomfortable. So it's all setting up for a repeat of Thursday, and that's exactly what we got. Now, I traded this in just literally when we poked above that high there. Again, this is something I like to look for. When we get a little poke above the high that fails, then rolls. I mean, that really sort of set the scene. You've got to put everything into context. First context was, number one, the drive up, the strength, the people getting involved in it. Number two, the rollover, the look of weakness now, the continued weakness for a prolonged period of time to cement the fact that the sellers are now in control. Third, just stopping out a few weak shorts, or even encouraging in a few longs, perhaps thinking that we may close at the VWAP. There's a possibility on a day like that. And then just rolling over, that's just the final nail in the coffin. Really just puts everything in line, makes it sit nicely. And then it's a case of just looking at the tape, looking at time and sales, looking at that depth of market. And I was watching the ES, and I just saw it flicking up and down, flicking up and down. In fact, let's bring the ES chart up. I don't know if it will be very clear on here, but anyway. Here we are, just flicking up and down, and obviously got the early close, so people have not got a lot of time to do their orders if they want to get the orders done. And then it just became clear on the tape. We had those offers stepping down, but then offers stepping down, obviously, but buyers were nibbling away at them. They'd be reloading, so we had the algos in. But then adding to that, we had offers stepping down. Bearing in mind that the book was reasonably thin, we started seeing 1500s getting slapped on the offer, and hardly any green hitting them. So, when I'm seeing that, and then if you want more confirmation, you see the price step away from him and then pulls it and he moves it lower, that the people are getting aggressive. You can always see that supply demand in the short few seconds of those orders being moved. So yeah, a little short on that. I took that on the ES actually only because I was watching that, and just easier to put it in front run those sell orders and then ride it down. Unfortunately, missed this. This was almost like a mini flash crash. I was out way before we had this plunge here, but I tell you what, the bids just went so light, and there were still those aggressive sellers coming in trying to get out of their positions. It was the same on the YM, on the ES, ES and the YM. Very very light bids. Yeah, it was a sight to see on the time of sales. Unfortunately, I was already out of the position then. I'd taken three points on the S&P. Or was it two? I think it's no 2 3/4. 2 3/4. I was there bidding at 3, and I remember I pushed it up a bit. So 2 3/4 points on the ES. But it could have been, like an 8-point trade. That yeah, really, really interesting tape in the last few minutes of the day. So we'll see next week. Really looking forward to get stuck into next week. I'm going to be doing some more analysis and bits and pieces on the prior week gone, and just having a look at some levels, get some ideas in my head, see what's been working, what hasn't been working last week, and that sort of thing. I'm still looking at the Open. The Open is still something that I'm very keen on having on my chart. I've got that on my main office PC. I haven't got it on here. Having that put in for me because the market seems to be looking at that quite a lot at the moment, as I mentioned before. So that's all I've got for you, really, guys. Nothing exciting. Bit of a mistake not getting on that first one, but yeah, and made a bit of a mistake on the exit, but okay, I made some money on a day which I wasn't expecting to. But if there was the continuation opportunities, then great. And also just being prepared for that close by looking at patterns from the day before. So yeah, so looking forward to Monday, looking forward to the next week, and we'll see what happens. As always, manage your risk. Please manage that risk. If you haven't got a strategy that involves scaling, don't scale. If your strategy involves trading 1 lot, 2 lots, 10 lots, 20 lots, whatever that size is, stick to it. Those are the rules that you need to be sticking to, because those are the rules that if you break them, they do the damage. So take care of there, guys. And remember, a market can be damaging if you let it, but if you manage your risk, then you can really keep that damage under control. So yeah, good trading, guys. Enjoy your weekend. And I shall be back with another video hopefully next week. A few more frequency with the videos next week as I get stuck into the markets. Take care.